Oh, welcome to Mr. Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog. This is the second book in the Mr. Putter and Tabby series. And in this story, we're going to meet a couple of new characters. So, of course, we're always going to have Mr. Putter and his lovely cat, Tabby. But in this story, we're going to meet Mr. Putter's next door neighbor, Mrs. Teaberry, and her dog, Zeke, who you happen to see right here on the front cover of this book. Also in this book, they're going to talk about, or at least in chapter 1, they're going to talk about a couple of fruits and vegetables that we might not be as familiar with. So I want to talk about those real fast. Mr. Putter gives Mrs. Teaberry, no, other way around. Mrs. Teaberry gives Mr. Putter an eggplant, which is a big purple shaped plant that you can use for all kinds of yummy foods. And I don't happen to have an eggplant here at home to show you, but you can look up one of those on the internet if you want to, so you can see what an eggplant is and you'll see it in the picture. But what Mr. Putter gives Mrs. Teaberry are kiwis, and I do happen to have those at the house. So I wanted to show you in case you are not familiar with a kiwi. A kiwi is this brown fruit right here. It has a fuzzy kind of skin on the outside. It's kind of hairy-like on the outside, and it's brown. But when I cut it open on the inside, and I'm going to go ahead and do that for you, show it to you, the inside is green and it has those little back seeds in it. So you have to take the skin off of the outside and cut it into slices, or I just like to cut them in half like that, and then I just use my spoon. And I'll have this one for lunch today. I use my spoon and I just kind of scoop out the yumminess on the inside. This is a kiwi, and kiwi are quite delicious. So Mr. Putter, whoops, I guess I'm not going to eat that half. It just went rolling across the floor. Whoopsie. Mr. Putter gives Mrs. Teaberry kiwis, and something happens. Oh my, let's figure out what goes on in the first chapter of Mr. Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog, again by our wonderful author Cynthia Rylant, and the illustrator is Arthur Howard. Mr. Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog. Here's our new character. Zeke is his name. Chapter 1 is called The Lollipop. That's an interesting word, lollipop. Sounds a little bit like a lollipop, doesn't it? Except for it doesn't say lollipop, it says lollipop. Well, I guess we'll find out why it's titled The Lollipop. And then we also see that there's 2 more chapters after this, so another 3-chapter book. Sticking pages again, there we go. Chapter 1, The Lollipop. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby live next door to Mrs. Teaberry and her small dog, Zeke. You see them outside visiting. Mrs. Teaberry sometimes gave Mr. Putter eggplant for his supper, and Mr. Putter sometimes gave Mrs. Teaberry kiwis for her lunch. They were very happy living side by side. Sound like nice neighbors together, don't they? One day, Mrs. Teaberry slipped on a kiwi and hurt her foot. Oh no! Mr. Putter and Tabby took her to the doctor. The doctor said, "This foot needs a rest. No walking Zeke for a week." "No walking Zeke for a week!" cried Mrs. Teaberry. "But who will walk my little lollipop?" She always called Zeke her little lollipop. So I guess we know now why the chapter's called The Lollipop, don't we? That's her nickname for Zeke, her lollipop. Oh, so the doctor said she can't walk Zeke for a week. My first question I want to ask is, how many days are in a week? Let's remember that. Oh, yes, there's 7 in a week. Good job. So 7 whole days she can't walk Zeke. Oh, boy. What do you think she's going to do? What do you think is going to happen? Make a prediction right now. Let's see. Then Mr. Putter, who had a very soft heart, said, I will. I will walk your little Lollipop. Mrs. Teaberry was happy, but she was a little worried. I hope he doesn't tug, she said. Oh, no, said Mr. Putter. Zeke won't tug. I hope she doesn't wrap around trees, she said. Oh, no, said Mr. Putter. Again, Zeke won't wrap. And I hope he doesn't chase other dogs, she said finally, especially the big ones. Oh, no, said Mr. Putter for the last time. Zeke is a good dog. Zeke is a fine dog. Mr. Putter looked at the little Lollipop. Zeke is a dream dog, Mr. Putter said with a smile. And that's the end of chapter 1. So, I'm wondering, what do you think Mr. Putter means when he says Zeke is a dream dog? Does it mean he's dreaming, like falling asleep at night dreaming about him? No, it doesn't mean that. It means something a little different. I want you to see if you can figure it out. And that's actually your second question today on your sheet. I want you to write down, what do you think Mr. Putter means when he says Zeke is a dream dog? And then your other question on your paper today asks, what happened to poor Mrs. Teaberry in this chapter? So I need you to answer those two questions. One, tell me what happened to poor Mrs. Teaberry. And two, tell me what you think Mr. Putter means when he says Zeke is a dream dog. And tomorrow, when we start chapter 2, we'll talk about those meanings. We'll talk about some of those things you send me, and we'll see if we can figure out, using our background knowledge, connecting it to other things that we might have heard before, what we think he means by Zeke is a dream dog. Have fun. Thanks for working hard for me. Bye-bye.